Living in a shared community, like an apartment block or a complex, it's supposed to be straightforward. You pay your fees, the body corporate takes care of the place. Simple. But what happens when the people in charge just stop following the rules? Well, we're going to dive into a real-life story, a homeowner's absolute nightmare, to show you exactly what can go wrong and, more importantly, how you can protect yourself. Okay, just take a second and imagine getting a letter with those words on it. This isn't some made-up scenario. This is a real quote from a real homeowner whose world got turned completely upside down by a fight with their body corporate. This is a story about how fast things can spin out of control when the basic rules get tossed out the window. So how in the world does a regular monthly fee spiral into a full-blown crisis, one that threatens to take away someone's home? Well, this didn't happen overnight. It was a slow burn, a problem that started simmering more than a decade ago. Let's trace the steps. See, the trouble really snuck up. It started out fine, with a totally manageable levy. But then, a change in management, a huge hike in the fees, and then on top of that, accusations of money going missing. Before they knew it, this homeowner was drowning in debt and facing the very real threat of losing their property. The first real gut punch was this: a sudden levy increase of more than 100%. And the reason they gave? They were opening a so-called investment account. This one decision, right here, became the spark that ignited a dispute that would last for over a decade. Now, the homeowner really tried to keep up. They even started paying 4,500 Rand a month. But it just wasn't enough. With interest piling up and legal fees getting tacked on again and again, that initial dispute ballooned into this, a staggering 60,000 Rand debt. You have to be asking, how is this even possible? Well, the root of this whole mess wasn't just about money. It was a total breakdown in governance. And it all goes back to one absolutely critical meeting that, according to the homeowner, never even happened. Okay, let's talk about the annual general meeting, or AGM. This is the absolute cornerstone of a healthy, functioning body corporate. It's not optional, it's a legal requirement. It's the one time and place where every single owner gets to have a say, to ask the tough questions, and to decide together who's in charge. And this is exactly where it all fell apart. The homeowner says that since 2010, there hasn't been a single election for the trustees. Just let that sink in for a moment. If you don't have an AGM, you can't have an election. And if you don't have elections, then the people making the big decisions, like, say, doubling your levies, they have no legal authority to do it. And this is where it gets really nasty. This creates a vicious cycle. The bad management leads to these financial disputes. Then the body corporate uses that debt to take away a member's right to vote. It's like a perfect trap, designed to keep the same people in power and silence any homeowners who disagree. All right, so it's one thing to know the rules have been broken, but knowing what you can actually do about it, that's the real challenge. The good news is, the law gives you clear ways to fight back. Now, before you start thinking about lawyers and expensive court cases, there's a vital first step you have to take. For problems like a body corporate refusing to hold an AGM, you need to go to the Community Schemes Ombud Service, or CSOs. They were literally created to handle these kinds of disputes, and they have the legal power to force the body corporate to do the right thing. Think of it like this. You have two main arenas for these fights. The Ombud, the CSOs, that's your specialist. It's cheaper, it's more accessible, and it's designed for these specific governance problems. The courts, on the other hand, are for the bigger, more complex legal battles. And remember, both sides can use them. And it's really important to see this from the other side, too. Even if the management is a mess, owners are still legally on the hook to pay their levies. And body corporates have some pretty powerful legal tools to collect that debt, including making the owner pay for every cent of the legal costs. But hang on, what if you're the one who has to go to court because the body corporate just flat out refuses to follow the rules? That can get incredibly expensive. But if you are in the right, there's a powerful way to turn the tables on them. This is where something called a cost order comes into play, and trust me, it's a total game changer. As law expert Ashwini Singh points out, if you have a legitimate case, you take your body corporate to court and you win, the court can actually order them to pay all of your legal fees. And look, this isn't just some legal theory, it actually happens. In a recent case, a court official, they're called a taxing master, their whole job is to finalize legal bills. And they ordered a body corporate to pay back an owner 61,000 Rand. This is proof that the system has real teeth to hold these schemes accountable. So, here's the bottom line. A cost order isn't a friendly suggestion. It is an enforceable debt. If the body corporate doesn't pay up, they can be chased for that money just like any other debtor. It is an incredibly powerful tool for owners who have been pushed too far. So after all this, who really holds the power here? While mismanagement can make homeowners feel completely helpless, the law is actually very clear. The rules, the ombud, the courts, they all exist to make sure there's fairness and accountability. The real power, it lies with the members, but only if they know their rights and are willing to stand up and fight for them.